Now, at the weekend, the Premier League resumed. The players had very little rest since their European commitments with the top clubs anyway, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, after Manchester United's excellent performance, winning at Everton, even in victory, he wasn't assuaged. He lashed out at the Premier League. They go back to Manchester at 4 a.m. from their European trip on Thursday morning, and here they are with a lunchtime kick-off on Saturday. Solskjaer said it looked as if they were trying to screw up Manchester United, and he was very angry. Both Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola had comments to make as well. And we're joined now by John Giles to talk about the weekend's football, of course, but also about the mess the Premier League is getting itself into. John, we start with the football, obviously, and the big game of the weekend, Manchester City against Liverpool at the Etihad. The two best teams, you could argue, in the Premier League. I thought Liverpool started first 15 minutes as if they were going to roll Manchester City over. And then when Salah scored his penalty, I thought this could be 3 or 4. But Liverpool really got tired, as did Manchester City, I think. But in the first sort of rush of the game, the surge, it was Liverpool, wasn't it?
Yeah, they started running. They had a couple of chances on early on, Eamon, and it's like anything else. If you don't make the most of those chances, then somewhere along the line you're going to pay the price for it. City came into the game then, and I thought in the second half, City were the better team.
Yeah.
But it's not like anything. You don't take your chances, Eamon. Goals dictate games, as we always say.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that. I think there'll be a lot of talk about the team that I think Liverpool put out with Jota playing.
Yes.
And
Firmino.
I think we might have mentioned it together. Well, I did anyway to you. I thought I can understand them trying to do it because they're such good players. But I think that it knocked the balance, or certainly disrupted Liverpool, in my opinion, Eamon.
Yeah, I mean,
with
this
the balance.
is the
less
idea.
Balance. Obviously, if you play Jota, there's going to be one less player in the middle of the field.
Yeah,
and I think that like they started well, and when you got a team like that, then there's going to be times when they're really, really good. But when the overall picture of the match over 90 minutes,
yes,
you need a balance. You need a balance to it. And I thought that there was a lack of balance in that particular match. I can understand them trying to get all the good players into the team.
Yeah.
But I think there was definitely a lack of balance in the Liverpool team.
Yeah, and just to underline what we're saying, basically, Salah and Mane would have to play. They're very distinct types of players. Firmino and Jota, that's the question. Can Jurgen Klopp get them both in the team? Obviously very desirable because Firmino's a superb player. He hasn't scored a lot of goals, or maybe enough goals, people would argue, but he makes a massive contribution to the other two front players. He presses. He's a very intelligent footballer. So it'd be hard to make a case for dropping Firmino, but Jota has had such an impact since he arrived a few weeks ago that it's not hard to make a case. But that's what coaches get paid for, John, isn't it? Making those tough calls.
Yeah, I can understand Klopp doing what he did, Eamon, because they're all good players. But like you could get those in, but you're missing out somewhere else.
Yep.
I mean, he's a bit unlucky with Thiago, say, playing. I think Thiago looks the best player, what I've seen of him so far, Eamon, as a midfield player that can control the game in the way that the top teams do.
And he's been injured since the Liverpool derby, Everton. Bad tackle by Richarlison, which he got a 3-match suspension for. But it was a very bad tackle. But you're right, they have Thiago, of course, to come back in. But they're also with Van Dijk not playing now because Fabinho has to go back in that position. Yeah,
I mean, after Thiago, I think Fabinho's the best midfield player in that particular position to control the game and get a grip of it and that. So it's a difficult decision for him to make. I can understand it. But I think you'll find that with Liverpool getting the chances early on, that's what they can do, Eamon. But 90 minutes is a long time in football,
Sure.
as you know. You played in the middle of the field to control it.
Yeah.
Once they scored the first goal, which was after they'd had the chances, then there was Manchester City came into the game in a big way then.
Yeah. Now, they would have won if De Bruyne had taken his opportunity with a penalty. He pulled it wide. It was kind of weak effort. Overall, I would say the draw was a fair result. But what I would like to ask you about, to me, both teams tired rather dramatically in the second half. The zip, the intensity that you associate with both teams at their best just wasn't there. And
it's too many. I mean, it's too many matches.
Yeah, well, this is the point I'm coming to. After on the final whistle, Klopp and Guardiola embraced. They had a conversation. You could see them talking, and one of the issues they talked about was, unlike every other country in Europe, the Premier League won't allow 5 substitutions. They'll only allow 3. The allowing 5 being a reaction to the number of games they have to play now, not just at club level, of course, but international as well. And they both want 5 subs, but they also said that the players were being asked to do too much. And I know that's something you felt strongly about for some time now.
Yeah, there's too many matches, and particularly in this situation, having the season extended because of the virus, the virus situation. The players only got 3 weeks. They got a rest while the early part of the virus thing, but then they had to play an awful lot of matches towards the end, as we know, playing 3-4 matches, whatever it was a week, and then they only got a 3-week break to come back into it again. Yeah. Now, I think what happened with the clubs, it's the rich versus the poor. I think when they were making this decision, Eamon, the top clubs, of course, like Manchester City and Liverpool and Manchester United, with the big squads, wanted the 5 subs. Yeah. The lesser clubs thought that was unfair on them because they didn't have the quality that the top teams had and went against it. Yes. But I think it would have helped the lower teams anyway, Evan, because they still have to play their matches. Yeah. You know what I mean? Their players will get tired as well. So I think it was a bad decision overall that to go against the 5 subs, definitely. And the matches itself, Eamon. You'd have to blame a lot of not just the clubs or the leagues, the international people. We have international week this week. We have Ireland playing England in a friendly match. Yeah. I mean, all these matches, the Nations Cup thing, in my opinion, they should have all been cancelled to make it easier for the players.
Well, let's just break this down and see the reasons behind the authorities, people who run the game. First of all, the club versus country thing. The UEFA and FIFA have vested interests, and their main interest is as much international competition as possible to cleave the players away from their club and make them play European Championship qualifiers, Nations Cup qualifiers, and very, very soon, John, World Cup qualifiers for the World Cup in Qatar in 2022. Now, there's UEFA and there's FIFA. Then you have the Premier League itself and its own selfish interests, and the FA in England as well. They have the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and the Premier League, as well as all that international commitment. So players, and you could see Alexander-Arnold yesterday when he got that muscle strain on his calf. You could see the look on his face. He was weary. He's a young lad. He's full of it. He went like a bomb for 45 minutes, then he was just tired. Now,
it's too many matches, Eamon. It's just, you stated it all and made it clear. The amount of matches and the international, the international people, Eamon. Yeah. It's no skin off their nose at all. I mean, as we know, they've created this Nations Cup now because there was a gap in between the World Cup and the European Championships. So they're going to fill in everything they can. They don't care about the players.
No.
And they don't care about the clubs. As far as they're concerned, we take the players. They're not responsible for the players. They don't even pay the players.
No.
So that's stupid stuff. And you got in England with the Premier League, you got the FA Cup, as you say, we got the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
And all this, what they have to do with that is that a lot of them still want replays, they want extra time, all the thing. And somewhere along the line, you have to pay the price.
Yeah, and
players are only human beings. They're not robots that can go and play 80 matches a season and then go without a rest. And what's going to happen is as you say, with the lad on Saturday getting the calf muscle, you'll see more and more.
Well, the evidence, the statistics show a 47% increase in muscle injuries, which are, with calves, hamstrings, and I mean, if you look at Liverpool, Fabinho, he was out. He tweaked the hamstring, and now they have probably Alexander-Arnold will have to miss his England commitment. I'm sure Jurgen Klopp won't be too unhappy about that because he'll get a rest. But there's then the travelling and all that goes with it. Now, and before we get on to talking about football matches, there's another massive issue, and it's VAR. It's not working, John. I think you probably agree with me because we spoke about this yesterday while we were watching the City game. You and I had also seen Leicester and Wolves. There was two very similar decisions. Handball given, went to VAR. It was given in both instances. And I don't think, in either instance, there was intent. And at the heart of the old rules, intent was the defining question when it came to handball. So you had to do it with intent. Now they changed that. They changed it they've changed it twice. When they introduced VAR, anytime the ball hits your hand, intent or no intent, penalty. That wasn't working.
Yeah. But you see, I don't blame VAR for it. They would have made this decision had there been no VAR or not, I would imagine. You see, as the old days when you played and I played, it had to be intentional, as you just said there, right? If they stuck to that now, right, then VAR would be no problem. It's the referees and the people in charge that have changed the rules.
Yeah, and they've still
complicated it.
Well, they're misinterpreting it. It's a question of interpretation.
No, they've actually not changed it, Eamon.
I know
in our day, it had to be intentional to give a penalty kick. You had to be intended to.
Yeah.
Now they're saying if it's in this position, that position, and all that. And it's totally confusing everybody. But they've changed it. If they left it to the way it was, there was always controversy in the old days about penalties, whether it wasn't a penalty or not. But the real thing in our day was it intentional? It's easier to make a decision on from the two penalties we saw at the weekend. Was his hand in the right place? Was his hand here? Was his body in the right place?
Yeah.
They never went back to the original. Did they intend to handle the ball?
Yeah.
And in both of the situations, there's no doubt whatsoever, they did not intend to handle the ball.
No, and in the
so
case,
it's not VAR. It's VAR is showing what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's not VAR that's doing it. I don't know who's responsible for making the change in the decision, whether it's the Referees Association. I don't know, but they're the ones to blame.
Yeah, and
VAR is good if it's handled in the right way.
Yeah.
But if it's not been handled in the right way, then you have to blame who's changed the rules.
Yep, and it's the same people who have essentially organised the fixture list and have players falling down dead because they're too tired, half dead.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to football, John.
Okay.
Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I thought they were outstanding against Everton. At the weekend, and in particular, Fernandes. He really is a very, very good player. But the inconsistency of Manchester United, 6 days after losing at home to Arsenal 1-0 and looking awful, admittedly with Pogba starting, the difference on Saturday at Goodison, they left Pogba out, but they deserve to win.
They won well, Eamon. I'd have to say Everton were disappointing. The two centre-backs were terrible, Keane and Holgate.
Yeah.
But to look at Manchester United, but what's happening with Manchester United all the time, Eamon, when they play well, it's a reaction to having played badly.
Yeah.
And everybody says, consistency, Eamon, is playing or doing your best and playing well week in and week out. You're not going to win week in and week out, but the attitude has to be right week in and week out. And what you'll find in most teams, not just Manchester United, they're going to make up for the previous game where they played badly.
Yeah. Now
it's consistency of performance you want. And what Solskjaer did at the weekend, I mean, he's put, I think, 3 lads in midfield that he could depend on doing a certain job.
Yeah.
That's why he leaves Pogba out, because Pogba will come in. And actually, there was a couple of weeks ago, he left Fernandes out of the team.
Yeah, I think that might not have been such an important match. Just to name the 3 players, Juan Mata came in the side again. He was hauled off for Pogba, actually, and was very angry at Old Trafford last week. But Juan Mata, Fred and McTominay. And I think, I want to know what you think, and so do our listeners. I think it's a good sign when Pogba's left out. I think the team's performance is going to be better. I also think for the balance of the team, but for all kinds of reasons. Now, you know, and I know, when you're in a club and it's a guy like Pogba who really isn't doing his stuff, he's the best paid and most expensive player in Europe, and he's just not really showing up. And Solskjaer dropped him on Saturday. I thought Mata played really well. He's a real good pro, Mata.
Yeah.
How much of a difference does it make, John, in the dressing room when you have a guy like Pogba pouncing around?
He shouldn't be there, Eamon.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be there. I mean, we're talking, how long has he been there? 3 years now or something.
Yeah. You said something to me when we were talking during the week, and it's very interesting. If Jurgen Klopp, you said, was offered Pogba for nothing, what do you think would happen?
He wouldn't take him, Eamon. He wouldn't take him. He's got a situation going there where they're all playing for the team. They're all doing what they should be doing and all that. You get somebody in like Pogba, it spoils all that. But how long has he been there? He's been at Old Trafford, 3 years now? Is that 4 years? I don't know how long. It's 3 years.
It's 3, yeah.
And we're still talking about him, Eamon.
Yeah.
You get this lad Fernandes who's just come into the club, right, doing his stuff, doing it straight away, as all the teams are. But then you've got to, at the stage we're talking about now, how do you accommodate Pogba? And it's no coincidence that they go to Everton the other day with a bit of spirit, bit of go in them.
Yeah.
And he's not playing. Well, he comes on during the match, but they were in a good position at that particular time.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. If you're talking about ifs and buts about players, you don't have them. You have to get rid of them. If he's going to do this, he's not doing it, but he's going to put. That's all nonsense. And that's down to the club and that's down to the manager. Whether Solskjaer has the authority to do what's needed to be done, I don't know. But it'll continue and continue. It won't get any better with Pogba coming into the team, or should he be in the team.
Yeah.
It just won't. And you'll have that inconsistency. And it's a bad sign in the club when a team responds to a bad defeat. I mean, it was a terrible defeat with the goals that they lost in the European competition during the week, I mean, for that to happen. And then, you were in dressing rooms like that where the team, they didn't do well. Now, the next match, they really say they turned it on.
Yeah.
And then that lasts for a couple of matches. But if you look at Liverpool and Manchester United at the best under Ferguson, it didn't happen. I mean, it was week in, week. Okay, they didn't win every week, but it wasn't because of the attitude.
Now,
but they won. No, consistency to win the. You need consistency to win the league.
Yeah, but you should, every time you pull the shirt on, whatever club you're playing for, you should give it your best shot. Now, I want to talk to you about Fernandes, John. I think he's really, really a top player and a leader. I mean, he scored the first goal for United, a header. He scored a second. Then, with a minute to go, he's through. They're 3-on-2 with Everton's back 4. And instead of being greedy and going for his hat-trick, he plays a nice pass into Cavani, who gets his first goal for Manchester United. I think he's a leader. I think he's a real quality player. better the more I see him.
Yeah, he's a very good player in the position that he plays.
Yes.
And he can influence the game when somebody else from midfield is doing the job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
He's not a midfield player. He's not going to dictate the game from midfield, right? But if he can get somebody in the team that can dictate the midfield and get him into a position where he's really good, he's a goal-scoring, goal-making individual.
Yeah, and
he's not coming from deep, but he's not a midfield player in the traditional way that we would talk about a midfield player.
No, he's not a playmaker.
He's not a playmaker. Like saying Scholes in his day.
Yeah.
If Scholes was playing with him now, Scholes could do what he was good at doing and give the ball to Fernandes in the position that he's best at, which is the upper end of the field, making and scoring goals.
Yeah.
Now, there's some days that happens, but there's a couple of days there he didn't get a kick of the ball.
Yeah, because
it wasn't his fault, because that's the game. That's the game he's played. He's a goal-scoring, goal-making midfield player.
Okay.
And now I'm contradicting me. He's not I don't see him as he's a goal scorer in midfield coming from midfield.
Yeah.
Not in midfield.
No. Now.
And he's very good. No, I'm not running him down in any way. I think he's top class, and he's brilliant for man. He would be brilliant for any team.
Yes.
If he had midfield players if he was playing for Liverpool, for example, with things stayed good, then I think he'd be sensational. But for Manchester United, he's very, very good at what he does. Really good.
Now, a team that's top of the league this morning is Leicester City. And Brendan Rodgers, their coach, I think I've always admired him. I think you have too, haven't you?
Yes.
He's fond of himself, but he's got a lot of things to be fond of himself about. And they beat Wolves at home. Jamie Vardy scored the penalty. It was a controversial handball incident. And missed another penalty. And Wolves are a good team. They're both two good teams. He's done a good job there, John, because he didn't have Soinchu yesterday, who's a major central defender. He's introduced a lot of young players, Barnes, for example, Maddison, and Mendy in midfield now. A little guy, works hard, does the kind of job that Kante used to do, and they play good football, John. Yeah,
well, they outclassed Wolves, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they were very, very good.
Yeah.
There was a good tempo to them. As you said, they're missing it. And don't forget, they've sold Chilwell as well.
They have, yeah.
Who's really a top player. No, they were very good. There was a lot of players they played yesterday. Now, I wouldn't be that familiar with so far, Eamon.
Yeah, no, they're new
Wolves
players.
are a good team, as we know.
Yeah.
But they outclassed them. They were good. They moved the ball around. They worked hard. They did all the things, the basic things that you want a top team to do, a really good team to do. And they did that. And, of course, with Vardy up front, excellent.
He's a real
led the line
player,
well. I know he scored a penalty, he missed a penalty, but he was very good, laying the ball off and making chances for other people. He was very, very good. No, and Wolves are a good team, as we know.
Yeah,
but they definitely outclassed Wolves. They were very, very impressive.
Yeah, and Leicester, don't forget, scored 5 against Manchester City at the Etihad a few weeks ago. Jamie Vardy, John, is a great player. Very, very good. Very good. I think he's a fantastic player.
He's an exceptionally good player. Whether he's up with the greats it might be going. But he's top class, Eamon. He uses the ball well. Like a lot of lads who score goals. Aguero, for example, is a goal scorer.
Yeah.
Doesn't make many goals. Doesn't lead the line all that well.
Yeah.
But Vardy can do that. He has this pace as well, Eamon. But he also has this control. He knows where he is. He lays balls on. He makes goals for the players. Unselfish. Good team player, and he's got better and better as he's got older.
Yeah, and he
really has.
Yeah, and he didn't come into league football really until he was 24. He was playing non-league for Fleetwood Town before they were in any league. So it's been an incredible journey for him and incredibly inspiring, for people who have been pros. He was really a journeyman, just waiting for the opportunity, and he got it at Leicester. And boy, is he! I think he's a marvelous player. He's retired.
He's terrific, Eamon.
Retired from international football.
Like that. Yeah. Sorry, Eamon. When they find it difficult to get in, and they do get in, they really appreciate what they have and how to. Obviously, he had the work ethic. to get in and or to come back when he was knocked back by a few clubs. And he said he was 24 when he really started to get into it. And because we've all seen young lads of 16, 17, outstanding players, outstanding ability.
Yeah.
And it sort of comes too easy for them, Eamon.
Yeah.
And they don't do it. They don't understand the work ethic that's needed. And people like Vardy, there's been a few of them in the past as well, and now, who come in late, really, really work at it to appreciate actually what they have. And he's done that in a big way. It's been terrific. He's really, really been brilliant.
Yeah. Now, you didn't see, because you're on strike with Sky, and you're right, most people support you. You didn't see Arsenal lose 3-0 at home to Aston Villa. You did see Arsenal.
I didn't see it, Eamon. No, I didn't. I was amazed at the result.
Let me tell you about it, John. First of all, the week before, Arsenal went to Old Trafford, and they really, really played well. And I think we both agreed when we talked about it that Arteta has done a really good job. And, they have a new midfield player, Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid, and everything was right. They rested 9 players in midweek when they had European commitment, and they rested 9, and they were all fit and raring to go. But Villa completely outplayed them. And there's a young lad playing for Villa, John, Ollie Watkins. He's a centre forward. He scored 2 goals yesterday.
About him a few weeks ago, Eamon.
Yeah, he scored a hat-trick. He scored
a hat-trick against Liverpool.
Yeah, he's a real good player. They bought him from Brentford, but he's got the whole package. He's a name to look out for. And yesterday they crucified Arsenal. It was it was a brilliant performance. And I'll tell you, who played really well, Jack Grealish. He really is. I know he's a player you like, and we could have had in our national team, along with Declan Rice, who's another player we let slip. But they really, really played. And I'm very pleased for their coach, Dean Smith. He was out Brentford, which is a small club, really, not a club you'd know, but I did from playing in the lower leagues. A small club from West London. And he's gone to Villa, and he's made a big difference. And Watkins is a player he bought from Brentford, and this kid looks the real deal. Yeah.
Well, I think with the Watkins situation, it's nothing better. It can't get any better for a manager to come from a club like he's done and knows the players.
Yes.
I think he had to put it, from what I can gather, I think he really, really had to persuade the Aston Villa people to go for this lad.
He did, yeah, that's right. And sort of break the bank in their terms, I think 28 million or something, yeah.
Yes, so it shows you the value, Eamon, of listening to the managers who know the players.
Yeah.
I'm having to go now to director of football, but he's good, a really good lad. It's Dean Smith, isn't it?
Yes, Dean Smith. Yeah, he's good. Yeah,
he's good. No, he's a good lad. He's a Villa supporter all his life and all that. Not that means it. But he obviously knows the game, and he's taken them, and he made, I think, about 3 or 4 signings, Eamon, in the summer.
Yeah.
Got a new goalkeeper, right back.
Yeah.
He got the lad from Chelsea on loan. I can't think of his name at the moment.
Yeah.
And Watkins as well. So he's got 4 new signs in the summer.
Ross Barkley he got, and actually Barkley, he's playing him in a different position. He's playing further forward, and he actually played really well and looked very comfortable yesterday. And in the league table, they're 6th. They've a match in hand. They've a game in hand. If they won it, they'd be joint top with Leicester. Now, I know it's early days.
It's early days. What happened there as well, Eamon, with getting those players in, it'll make Grealish better.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all know in football, the better the players you play with, the better chance of playing well yourself.
Yeah.
And he with those players coming in, the huge players for them, it'll make Grealish, definitely make him a better. He has the ability, Grealish, and there's no doubt about it. I think his attitude, was a bit dodgy early on when he was younger. But he seems to have got a grip of himself now. And I would play him in the middle of the midfield in England. I think he's by far and away the best middle of the midfield player that England have. But he's a lot of ability, that lad. A lot of ability.
Yeah, just before we finish, John, we were talking last week about Declan Rice, a player we really had until Keane. He saw Keane fighting with 2 players, John Walters and Harry Arthur and the training camp, and Rice witnessed all of that, and I think that was the end of it. He's very good, isn't he?
I think he's the best midfield player in the Premiership now, Eamon.
In front of Jack Grealish. You just said All Grealish was. I'm only winding.
Well, I didn't say he was the best. I think he's very good.
He's very good.
But he's all round game. I mean, he's for a big lad. I mean, he's a big. I think I said at the start of the season, if I'd have been Manchester City, I'd assigned him as a central defender.
Yes. Yeah.
I think he would walk through that.
Yeah.
He's playing in midfield. He's a big lad, but he's good on the ball. He uses the ball well. His control is good, and I think his overall play. I think if I was picking the best midfield player in England now, if I was a manager, I'd take him. I would also take Grealish if I had the money, Eamon, to do it. I think there'd be what a combination they'd be for us in the middle of the field for Ireland.
Exactly.
That'd be the big thing. And we lost both of them.
A final point, John, about Rice. His attitude is brilliant, because if you're playing for West Ham, more often than not, you're going to be under the cosh. Although, happily, with David Moyes, they've made a very good start to this season by their standards. But you'd be under the cosh, playing with a lot of guys who might not be given 90%, never mind 100%. So he's a good character, good type of lad as well.
Yeah, he's a smashing lad, Damon. I think he's the best. I think he's the best all-round midfield player in the Premiership.
Okay, final question, John. It's very early in the season, of course. But are Liverpool going to retain their title? Because I thought last year that City were going backwards, and I still think it after yesterday even. I wonder what you think, or is it just too early to begin that type of speculation?
Well, you'd have to look at the situation, Eamon. I think City will have improved on last year. I think Liverpool, if they get all the players fit, you see, last year, Eamon, like most teams when they win the league, you have a good run or lack of injuries.
Yeah.
You know, they've had unbelievable injuries so far.
Yeah, Van Dijk, Fabinho,
that's Thiago.
Yeah.
They're about 4 players short.
Yes.
Of what they were last year, Eamon. And last year they had a great run. They had very, very few wins. That happens.
Yeah.
Right? And they're going through a spell now. Obviously, they haven't made as good a start this year as they have last year because they've lost the players that they got. I think in the long run, they'll win the league comfortably.
Yeah. Okay, John.
In the long run.
I know our listeners sometimes think that we don't love the special one. Tottenham Hotspur are second in the table. The special one is on the way back, and we want to give him credit, don't we?
Oh yeah, well I have always admired him. I mean, it gets on my nerves from time to time. I mean, last week, he was complaining about somebody going from Arsenal with the England team.
Yeah,
you know, this type of nonsense, this childish stuff. He's done it. I think he's trying to upset everybody, all the other teams. So far, he's done a good job, but it's early days, Eamon, and as we know. Liverpool are still there, City are there, United are still there. I think it is already. Don't forget, this time last year, Liverpool were about 6 points or 7, 8 points in front of everybody else, even at this stage.
Yeah.
But Liverpool have had terrible injuries. Terrible injuries, and it's bound to affect them. And obviously, you'd expect the other teams to improve.
Yeah.
But I don't think they've improved enough over the long term. If Liverpool get their players back and have a good run, for Liverpool to go on and win it. I can't see anybody stopping Liverpool. Okay,
John, thank you very much indeed. And a happy birthday. You turned 80 last week, and there's not a bother on you. So we'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Thanks.